if you think about that, and since we're in Thursday of week 3, we basically have 10 days left of class, and you know that's going to go by pretty quickly. But I want you to keep in mind that so far, number one, you're doing great. I've seen some great assignment submissions, and I really love the discussion boards for this class because I think some of the topics are so thought-provoking. And I really I appreciate the way that you guys are handling these topics as well, because you want to be honest, to learn things from each other. I loved the past few weeks have just been an interesting journey going through reading the discussion board postings. So please keep that up so that we can continue learning from each other. Remember that we have no final project for this class. You'll have a final exam at the end. You will have a practice final exam, and then you'll have the real deal. So you will have a chance to see some of those questions and get it down so that you do well for the final. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah, I just saw that. I remember last week you saying that you might leave a little bit early. Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with getting rest, and I know that you're on a little later schedule than we are as well. And there's Jasmine too. Hi, Jasmine. Gonna write down that last name because I've got 2 Jasmines, and I've got 2 Brittany's as well, but you guys spell your name a little bit different, so I can usually tell. And Sarah, there we go. They have been, I know, Sarah, and I said, I think earlier, I think springtime is also just kind of a crazy time. Just seems like there's so many things going on in the world in general. And Lita, you went to the workshop and they're sending you a resume video. Oh, fantastic, Lita, great. So did you go to the one today at, what was it, 5 o'clock? I think. Okay, good, good. And for those of you that missed it on Facebook, the Career Services Department is going to be doing a resume workshop the first Thursday of every month. So any of you are welcome to come in for that. If you need an update on your resume, they do sort of amazing things. My resumes look really boring compared to the ones that they put together. Oh, and there's Opal saying hi to, now, is it Jasmine that you guys are good buddies, right? You guys crack me up. Yay! So, be ready for the final exam and carry on, right, guys? Keep doing the good stuff that you are. Okay, next we have our student question of the week, because graduation is coming up pretty soon in May, and those of you that are walking have had some excellent questions. So, Sarah, I can't believe how fast it's gone, Sarah. I've seen some of the emails from Stephanie on getting your externship lined out and everything. So that's great. We're going to miss you, but we're going to stay in touch through Facebook so I know what's going on. So here was a question I got, and actually I had several people ask this one. If I live in another state, can I still receive a cap, gown, and tassel? The answer is yes on that. The thing is, your cap, gown, and tassel are already paid for as part of your fees at CCC. It's no extra cost. We can always, the thing is, they will be bulk delivered to Community Care College, but we can always mail those to you from there as well. There I go, freezing up again with my goofy faces. The tassels, we usually have extras of those, is the thing. So if you live out of state and you don't necessarily want the cap and gown, send me an email after graduation and I will snag you a tassel and we'll get it sent to you, okay? No, you're right, Brittany. This is only for students that are graduating before August of this year. This slide you picture tonight, that's the only thing I can think of is maybe it's still dishes that are down from the high winds and the tornado that came through. Things just don't seem to be working right. Yeah, so Brittany, don't worry about this year, but you will definitely be able to walk in May of 2017. We didn't, Sarah. We had high winds, and actually the storm system that produced the tornadoes dissipated before it got to our area. So we were ready to head to the hidey hole, but we didn't have to. I was very happy about that. Yeah. But we have several areas around Owasso that did. How can you find out when we are graduating? Jessica, send me an email after lecture and I can look that up for you because they have you down as an estimated graduation date. In fact, let me look on the list that I have and see if you're on here. This is really just the externship list. Jessica, it looks like you'll be externing in August. And are you doing ECE diploma or are you doing ECE Associates of Occupational Science? Because that will make a difference. So if you'll send me an email after live lecture, I'll look that up for you, okay? Can you guys still hear me okay, even though I'm freezing up? And if you are graduating this time in May, you've probably already received an email, in fact, from Bridget, our amazing registrar. Our school is cool, Sarah. I agree. I agree. You know, at regular universities, you have to sometimes set out over the breaks. You have to wait over the summertime or over Christmas break. And, you know, we're going all the time, all through the year. So I don't get in a break as an instructor either, but what it does for you guys is it makes it so that you can graduate a little bit sooner as well. And that's what we want to happen. We want you guys trained and out there and in a good job. That's the goal. Oh, nice instructors. Thank you, Lita. I think we're kind of cool too. Okay, and Jessica, you're an associate's degree student. Okay, gotcha. So your graduation date is probably about 6 months after August then, August. So about March of 2017 would be my guess, but I can check and make sure, which would make you walking in May of 2017. They only have graduation once a year. So those of you that graduate at different times during the year, you're still welcome to come back and walk in May if you'd like. Because it's a big thing at ORU, and just the caps and gowns and getting your family to be able to watch is amazing, I think. Friends and family. Exactly, Sarah. Exactly. Exactly. You got it. Okay, so does that make sense for my out-of-towners? And also, for you guys that do not plan to walk, just know that, again, even if you do not get the cap and gown, I can probably get you a tassel, and we could send that to you, okay? Just be sure and remind me after graduation. A mini vacation. That'd be great, Sarah. You need one, don't you? You could come hang out with us in Oklahoma. That'd be great. Okay, Chapter 11, guys, social and emotional development. We have a fairly short unit to go over. Developmentally appropriate social and emotional environments for preschoolers. So we get to focus on preschoolers this week, some of my favorite critters. First of all, let's look at what they're doing socially and emotionally. They're learning to identify with the adults in their life. And if you'll look at this picture, see the little boy hanging out by dad, and they're both on the phone. And I see the same scene repeated over and over. No matter where you go, it seems like you'll have a little one on the phone. And I know they know how to use the phones and use some of the apps at a very young age. So please know they want to be like you, and they want to do some of the things you do. They're also learning about their identity, if they're male or female, and they're also learning about how males or females are meant to act, or how males and females act in your home. So it's important that you give them a positive role model that they can follow. They're also learning about their cultural and racial identity. Where do I belong, basically? Are they members of the family? Are they members of a larger culture? And what this makes me think about is around here we have a lot of very active Indian organizations where they have powwows, and I've got a friend that goes to powwows, and his daughter, who is, gosh, I think she started dancing when she was about 4, is getting ready to get a new powwow dress. She's getting a jingle dress. And it's amazing to be able to see her identity within the tribe. So, so we have different cultures that we identify with. Now with me, I'm just kind of a Heinz 57 of a lot of different races and a lot of different Indian tribes. I don't really know who I identify with, just me. But definitely with my family too. They're also learning how to take initiative in their preschool years. So taking actions on their own. So instead of being told, hey, it's time to take a bath, maybe they'll actually ask to take a bath, and some of them love to do this. Or asking when they're hungry, or they're thirsty, or they're tired, which is a big thing, learning to identify when they're sleepy. And also they're learning a little bit about asserting themselves, so being that individual. And it's very important that we allow them at this age to make some decisions. So we want to sort of build that into our parenting and also into our daycare preschool centers, that there's opportunities to make decisions so that they can assert themselves. What else? They're building friendships, and we're going to talk about some of these different friendships here in a minute. Pro-social behavior versus aggression, which is one we talked about last week as well in one of our assignments. Kind of what to do with an aggressive child, or which is appropriate and which isn't. They're learning new verbal abilities. They're stringing together sentences and paragraphs, maybe not writing them out yet, but definitely telling stories. They're learning about their emotions, which is huge. And a lot of people don't understand that we do actually have to teach our children about emotions, what to do when our emotions get out of control, what to call an emotion. So lots of times we'll look at pictures and ask them to tell us, you know, what does it look like they're feeling? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they mad? So we are teaching about these emotions at this age. And lastly, self-control. Comprehending standards of conduct taught by the adults, which kind of goes along with teaching rules at the center and appropriate play. So there's lots of things for us to do with our little preschoolers. So let's talk about play specifically. This is one of my favorite topics. Some of the benefits of play, and you know, you've seen lots of studies out there now where they're really pushing for the idea of children in public school, maybe grade school age, to get more playtime. We need a little more recess. We need a little more free time so that they can get that energy out, so that they can learn the things that they need to learn from play. So I hope that happens soon. They gain knowledge from play. They solve problems. They strengthen their language by speaking to each other. You know, and lots of times a child will have a teacher or an adult to talk to, but sometimes there's not another kid at the house. So this is their opportunity to talk to their friends and develop their language. Also using their imaginations and learning how to play in a group, especially if the child may be an only child at home. They have to learn about other people's feelings, about how they play, about their rules on the playground, and this is their chance. Now let's look at, this is some, about 6 different types of play. And some of these are talked about in your books, but actually not all of them. The first one is unoccupied play. So hanging out by themselves, it's kind of something that they do at a younger age, but you also see children at 5, 6, and 7 doing this as well. So it doesn't seem like they're necessarily doing anything specific, but they're really just kind of hanging out by themselves. Now, number 2 is solitary play, a little bit different. They're playing, but not necessarily with other children, and but they're doing something that we recognize as play. So maybe they are in the kitchen center and they're cooking food for themselves. Or maybe they're doing dress up on their own. Okay, so that's how we differentiate unoccupied and solitary play. Next is onlooker play. So solitary was about 2 to 3 years of age, but we see this, like I said, it depends on the child. Onlooker play takes an interest in other people's play, but they don't join in. And you've probably seen 2 kids side by side before. They may even be playing the same type of thing. Maybe they're in a center together, but it's not that they're engaging with each other. So maybe they notice what the other one's doing, but they're not necessarily doing it together. Okay. Parallel play, the child mimics other children's play, but doesn't actively engage again. For example, they may use the same toy, similar to onlooker play. Associate play, this is when we start actually working together. More interested in other people than the toys that they're using. So they're becoming even more interested in the other kid themselves. This is the first category that involves strong social interaction between the children while they play together. And cooperative play, same organization. The example is playing has more of a goal, and children often adopt roles or act as a whole group. So if you were just thinking, just off the top of your head, tell me from watching children, what would be an example of cooperative play? What would be a good example of that? They're playing, they have a goal, and they may even have roles as well. House, that's probably the best example right there, Sarah. Cooking, right? So you've got one. Restaurant, yeah. So you might have mom, dad, and the kids as the roles. In the restaurant, you might have a cook and a waitress, right? Or a waiter. Store, exactly. School, oh, that was one of my favorites, Jasmine. Playing school, you have to have pencils and papers, right? And sometimes the teacher's a little strict, but that's okay. So yes, those are all examples of cooperative play. So if you look at all these different types of play, you've probably seen examples of this maybe with your own children, but you didn't really know what to call it. So please know that they do just all have different labels that we call them, and it deals with different developmental abilities. Oh, exactly, Sarah. I had a grade school teacher who literally carried a ruler in her hand. And if you did something wrong, you might get wrapped on the knuckles with that ruler, or the ruler might come down on the desk to wake you up if you fell asleep. And this was, I think, first grade. She was pretty old school. He likes to take charge of everything. Gotcha. So, yeah, sometimes we learn things from play, right? Okay, let's talk just a moment about social and emotional interaction with our preschoolers again. For them to feel like they are emotionally in control, they need to be in an environment where they feel secure, right? And one of the best ways we can help a child feel secure, whether this is in a nanny situation, a preschool, a daycare, a public school, is for them to have a predictable environment, which means we start the day a certain way, we're on a certain time schedule, they always get lunch at about the same time, they always get snack at about the same time, because even if they can't even read clocks yet, their bodies know, right? Recess happens at a certain time. So to feel secure, they need to have a good, predictable environment, right? So let's say you're working as a nanny. You may have a daily schedule as well that you follow with the children to provide them with this. Number one, they're in their own home, which makes them help feel secure, but being on a predictable schedule ups that one as well. Also, warm relationships, keeping positive. The negativity, excessive negativity, I've seen that before, and children become very uneasy. Acceptance, recognizing that they're having feelings at this age and that they're very valid feelings. Active listening, which is reflecting back with them. Remember this from last week, using you messages or using I messages so that they know you're really listening to them, making eye contact. Limits on expression. So sometimes we do have to set rules such as no hitting, screaming, pushing. Okay, we want to try to get the aggressive behaviors under control, and the rules are sometimes the way we do that. And then we also need to have outlets, and I love these examples for outlets. I didn't get to read your comments, Sarah. It was, let me see. Oh, that's right. I forgot she had her surgery. Yeah. Gotcha. And you had mentioned that she was having a little anxiety too, right? You are so right. Yes. Even at home, when they're on a certain schedule and that schedule gets messed up, oh, it makes such a huge difference. Exactly. You realize at that point how important these schedules really are. Yeah. And think about it. You have some children that will be coming to your classroom, you know, as little as 3, 4, and 5 that don't have a set bedtime. They don't have a set meal time. They may not even have a set caregiver who's going to take care of them that night. And that definitely affects how they're feeling and how they're going to behave and we talked about underlying causes of behaviors, and that's definitely in an area that we get into. Exactly. So some of the outlets for this frustration that they might have. Play-Doh. Did you ever think of Play-Doh as being a stress reliever? Think about it. We have those great stress bags that are sort of almost like Play-Doh in a balloon. Sometimes it's flour inside a balloon, basically. So Play-Doh is a great exercise for those fine motor skills, but it's also a stress reliever. A punching bag. Oh, this might be for older children. However, some children really need to release this. And this is Alita, you need one? A stress reliever or a punching bag. Oh, Sarah, you have one that hangs in his closet. Well, great. See? There you go. And I used to have one at our old house that we never got hung up, but my kids would tackle it on the ground and play with it. It was crazy. If you've ever thought about paper tearing, this can help relieve stress in children. Giving them an art area where you can have scrap pieces of paper that were maybe left over, that were going to maybe go in the trash anyway, right? Allowing them to just rip that paper into little pieces, getting smaller and smaller. Again, it's a good fine motor skill exercise, but it's also a stress reliever. And then lastly, having a little alone time. So in your center, in your classroom, you do need to provide a small space where they could go sit and read a book and just get away from the group if needed. Because sometimes that is what they need. We don't need to force them into staying with the group. We don't need to force them into calming down, because we can't do that. That doesn't work. So we need to help them learn these skills so that they can eventually handle these emotions on their own. But for right now, they still need our help. That's right. So again, we're helping preschools with emotional growth. We're modeling the behavior, what to do, what not to do. We're learning about feelings by talking about them, by reading about them. And there are tons of books out there about feelings and situations that your children might be going through that you could use in the class. Vocabulary to express feelings, and materials such as dolls, houses, puppets, so you can talk about things, right? There's lots of things you can do as a teacher. And developmentally appropriate interaction, nurturing individual identity. We want to allow them to realize that they are an individual, that there are certain things about them that are special and unique. We also want to help them with their gender identity, accept children's curiosities about their bodies and realize these questions are going to come up. And the first time you have to talk about these things to a kid, it can be a little embarrassing from the teacher too, but you learn as you go along, and you'll learn the right words to use, and you may even find the right book to go to as well, again in the classroom. Encourage cross-gender play choices, which we talked about in our last class. So we want to encourage the boys that they can play house, that's fine, or cook in the kitchen, and that the girls can also play with the cars, no problem there. Also give them new activities, and be sure to communicate with the parents always. Communication is always the key. Oh, are you guys looking at punching bags? Fantastic. Okay, so let's take a moment and look at this scale. This is where are you? Where on the spectrum might your gender identity be? And I thought this was a great visual representation, because we're not just girl, boy. We have, where are you from Barbie to G.I. Joe. And this may change at certain points in your life as well. So if I were to go back, to about 3rd grade for me, I would say I was probably about a 5 on Where Are You, because I was very much a tomboy. I wore my cowboy boots and my Wranglers, and I really liked to kick the boys with my cowboy boots. But now I'm a little more girly, I think, as I've grown up. So I'm not sure where I would. I'm definitely not a Barbie. I'm not a 1. I'm going to go with probably 3 or 4, because I still wear my cowboy boots. So you guys tell me, where do you think you are on this spectrum, from Barbie to G.I. Joe? Sarah was a 5, and you're still a 5. So you were a tomboy too, Sarah. Oh, Bailey, good. I saw several coming and going. Opal, you're a 3. Jasmine, yeah, a 4. A 4 now. Khadijah, you're a 3. A little more girly. Do I have any 2s or 1s in here? It looks like mainly 3s, 4s, and 5s. Oh, and let me see what Brittany has. 3 on the weekends, but 4 on your normal days. Bailey, that's funny. Brittany, when I was younger, my mom called me preppy grunge or something like that. Look nice, but you were also a tomboy. Now you're a mom, whatever number that is. I think that number is whatever clothes are clean you throw on, right? And sometimes you get to brush your hair. Lita, you are 1 on your birthday. Aw, that's great. So anyway, does this help a little bit to realize that we all, you know, we're different versions of girls and we're different versions of boys. And you wore boy hand-me-downs, Sarah. I remember having some from my cousins too. That's great. And my cowboy hats too. I don't know. It's amazing how much we change through our lifetimes. I frequently steal my husband's shirts as well. Yeah. I have my 1 day of the week when I go into the office where I do have to dress up. Yeah. Oh, I agree, Sarah. I'm with you there too. And you know, in our online classes, guys, you know, I've been teaching for CCC since past June. And so far, I have had no males in my online classes yet, but I hope that soon we will be able to get some more guys into our program so that we can, you know, represent the other part of the scale as well. Because, of course, our kids need females and males in their life, and it's great to have them at home and or at preschool and daycare or public school. Your sister's hand-me-downs, I have those too. I just love hand-me-downs in general. I do. Okay, so that's our Where Are You? Next, we want to ensure cultural and racial identity, but also diversity in our classrooms. So we want to be sure all children feel accepted and loved and appreciated for how unique they are. We want to involve parents in the classroom activities for celebrations, for when we talk about maybe a certain culture or a certain country, whatever might be going on. Support and maintain the child's home language and culture. So we might have, we might be using English words, but we have the Spanish version written up on the wall and labeled for different things in the classroom as well. Culture identity is the holistic combination of national, political, cultural, religious, and family factors would shape up one's identity. So I don't want you to think about just the color of our skin or what nationality we came from. When we first came to America, our background, it's so much more than that. It's us as a whole, right? Our community, our religion, our politics, everything goes into making us who we are. And lastly, friendship, which is so important. I want you guys to tell me what are some ways in our ECE classroom. I know, I love that picture. Love, that's love right there. You guys give me some ideas. How can we help teach friendship in an ECE classroom? Give me a few ideas. Oh, there's Tina. Yes, okay, so let's say include everyone. And we talked about children with disabilities in one of our discussion boards and one of our assignments, and how important it is for us to include everyone. So realize when you're planning activities that there are things that you can do to help children that are maybe in the wheelchair or are sight limited, that we can include them as well. And make sure the children don't exclude other children, right, by teaching them how to do that, right? And that it's not okay to exclude. But we all play together, right? Manners, teaching sharing, yes, because sharing is very important in friendship. Oh, that's okay, Tina. I'm glad you made it. Oh, teach them to not judge, which is very good, Sarah. You got it. Well, fun. Don't judge. The best way we can do that, teach that too, is to model that for our children. That's right. Call everyone friend. I have heard that before too. And some centers and some schools, especially in the lower years, will say that we don't use the term best friend. So what do you think about that? Using the term best friend. Well, I know as adults and as we get older, we definitely use that term. But can you see how it could be hurtful to one of the other children if one said, he's my best friend? And she said, wait a minute, I thought I was your best friend. And then you've got somebody else saying, no, I'm your best friend. I mean, they will fight over who the best friend is. So sometimes we just have to bring it down to friend, right? Treat people nice, yeah. And it's strange, but so many of these rules that come up that at first you would go, oh, that's silly, why can't you use best friend? Whenever you sit down and just think about it, you can see where that can maybe cause an issue. Yeah, until they understand the meaning more. That's true. That's true. So yes, we can do all these things. We can also teach friendship by pairing children up randomly or purposely so that they work together. Maybe children that don't normally play together. We can help make friendship connections that way. No fighting. Yes, definitely. Not a way to make good friends, right? With fighting. That's right. So yeah, you probably don't, my nose is so itchy. I'm sorry, it's allergies are getting me right now. Ugh. So you may not think of your role as being teaching a child how to be a friend, but you really are. And it's starting very young. And you can do it, right? No problem. We've reached the end, guys, to another live lecture. It's 8:49. We have about 10 minutes left. So you guys tell me, do you have any questions? Do you feel okay about your assignments for this week? The career fair, no problem, Opal. Let me go back up to the slide, in fact. I think it'll, I wish it would let me hop through. Oh, I went too far. I've gone too far. Okay, great. Those of you that don't have questions, you can hop on out of here. Okay, so Community Career Fair, it's at Community Care College, which is close to 41st and Sheridan, for those of you that haven't been down there. I know some people haven't. And it is Thursday, April 14th, which is next Thursday. Ooh, which brings up, we're going to have to make a few changes for a live lecture. Let me think about this. I just realized that. Because I will be at Community Care College all day. Bye, Khadijah. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Thursday, and then 5:30 to 7 o'clock. So if I am in Tulsa until 7 o'clock, I probably won't be home till 9, and that's a little late for a live lecture. So I will send out an email when I know for sure what we'll do about next Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. Yeah, I hadn't thought that far ahead yet, Lita. Oh, and zoo tomorrow, that's right. You guys have fun at the zoo. Okay, so those of you that can make it, come to one of those sessions at the career fair. Bring your resume if you have one. Dress up, look nice. I know, Opal, I hate to not have live lectures, so we may have to make a different day or a different time, or I may just have to do a recording. Let me think about it for a minute. I hate to miss the final live lecture. I could do it live from Community Care College. Who knows? We'll see. So those of you that can come, I hope you get there. It's always nice to see you guys, and you know, some of you I've never met in person, so I know I could do it on campus, Jasmine, from upstairs in the mirror room. It could get kind of crazy. I could have disco balls. Who knows? So you guys hang in there. Finish out the rest of week 3, and then we will be in our final week of our class. All right? So have a great rest of your week. Email me, call me if you have any questions.